Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Esha's Kitchen Adventures. Tonight we're going to do a tried and true classic. Now that it's actually feeling like fall here in Texas, I'm going to whip up a batch of chili that has been in the recipe's been in my family for several generations. This was actually passed down from my father. So I've made a few tweaks here and there for you know for this because he actually didn't include jalapeños or anything like that, but I do. Um, and he also doesn't include pork sausage, and I'm including some pork sausage as well. So, with no further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. For this, you're going to heat up your pot and put in 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Let's see. There we go. Let that heat up just for a second, and then we'll go ahead and add in our beef to get this going. So for this recipe, um, like I said, I'm mixing it up. I'm putting some pork sausage hot in there to give a little bit extra kick, a little bit extra flavoring. And you want to brown all this up, so let's go ahead and put this in the pot. Listen to that sizzle. Make sure I get it all out. I'm sure there's a trick to that somewhere, but I don't know what it is. And along with that, we're also going to mix some 7323 ground beef. Get that at the local grocery store as well. And this one comes out a little bit easier, which is good. Wash my hands real quick. So what we want to do is we're going to brown up the meat. I'm going to go in and break it up here. And I've got it sitting at about medium high. Stir up those flavors so that way the pork can intermingle with the ground beef here. There we go, it's good and broken down. I don't want to mess with it too much, so I'll just let it sit here for a little bit and let it brown up. So while it's doing that, we're going to get the next ingredients ready. So with that, we're going to get our onion and get that prepared. You want about one full onion since we're doubled the recipe. So we'll put that in here as soon as it browns up a little bit more. And a little bit of garlic. Put as much garlic as you like. I've done about 2, maybe 3 um, things of garlic because I do like a little extra garlic. And we want to brown all those together. So when the meat gets a little more brown, we'll add the onions and garlic to it so that way we can get a little bit more flavoring as well. As you can see, the beef is starting to brown up there. The nice thing about chili is you do want to like let it simmer all day, and then it's really good the next day. I'm going to have some of this tonight for dinner, and then of course have some the rest of the week. So it also makes a really good meal prep if you want, because you can put chili in salads, and you can make some tacos if you like. Put some chili with some eggs. Have that for breakfast. I've done that too. Okay, now that it's got a little bit more brown, I'm going to go ahead and add in the onions. That way they can start cooking in here as well and sweating up. So let me go ahead and add in the onion. Make sure I get all that out. Stir those in real quick. And now we're going to add in the garlic. There we go. Get that good and browned up. I'll let that cook just for a minute longer. All right. It's looking good. A little bit more. And then we'll get the next part going. So this is where you want to add your seasonings. But for this, it does call for half a tablespoon of cumin, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, and half a tablespoon of paprika. And that's based on 1 pound, but since we put 2 pounds in, I already went ahead and doubled the recipe. So now we're going to add the flour. And I added all the chili powder, cumin, and paprika in here. So we'll add that in, get that to where we can stir it up. Nice thing about this recipe is I've cooked it so much, I pretty much have it memorized. It's just a matter of how much I want to make. If I just do a normal small bowl, or, I just do the one, but since I went to go last all week, I went ahead and did two. Now that that's all added in, we also want to add in some tomato sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 can of tomato sauce. And this is also where I kind of change things up a little bit. I'm also going to add 1 can of Rotel Hatch diced tomatoes and chilies, because I like mine a little bit spicier. Let me get that all stirred in. There we go. I'm going to lower this down, because from now on, we will need to bring it back up to a boil, but I'll do that here in a second. Just want to make sure we get everything good and cooked in. Nice thing with this pot is it does hold some heat. Alright, and with this we want to add in about 2 cups of water. But I'm going to also do something a little bit different. I'm going to add in some beef broth. That way it gives it a little bit more of a beefy flavor. And I also add in a beer. So I'm going to use a Shiner Oktoberfest, because it's what I actually have in the fridge right now. And you can put a whole can or half a can. I'm going to do about half a can. That way you can save the rest for later. And here's where we bring it back up to a boil again. So let me go and turn that back up. And I'm also going to add in the jalapeños now as well. And I tried to get most of the seeds out, but there's still a few seeds in there. So some bites will be probably hotter than others. But since we had the Rotel with hatch chilies in it too, we're going to get a little bit of flavoring from both. So with this, this is where you bring it back to a boil real quick, and then we drop it down to simmer. And when we do that, we're going to simmer it for, around 30 minutes to an hour. And just make sure you come back and stir it every now and then. Good beer. And then if you think it's getting a little too dry for you, you can always add some additional water as it's cooking. And for some people, if you like, you can. Now's also the time to add your beans. You can do ranch style beans. You can do, red beans. I prefer mine without beans, but every now and then I do decide to go ahead and mix in some beans with this as well. Um, but I was born and raised in Texas, and for the most part, it's no beans. But I understand people wanting to put beans in their chili. I mean, it does add some extra flavoring, and to be honest, it actually makes it go a little bit further as well. So. All right, I'm just gonna let that sit until it boils. And you have the option of, boil or simmering it with the lid on or the lid off. And we're going to go ahead and leave it with the lid on. But we'll put that back on here in a little bit. All right, as you can see, the bubbles are starting to form. We're almost getting to a boil. One more good stir before I lower this to low. All right. And if you like, you can add, more tomatoes. Even more beef if you really want, but that's your personal preference. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and simmer it. So I'm going to drop it down to low. And like I said, we don't always cover it, but for now I'm going to cover it and just let it simmer for a little while and not touch it. So we'll come back here in a few minutes to check on it. All right, it's been about 30 minutes. Let's check it out, see how it's going. Stir all the butts off the bottom. Looking good. And I think the last part we're going to keep the lid off. That way get some of this water out of here that came in with the condensation. All right, now that we got everything good and go, let this sit for another 30 minutes or so. We'll come back and stir it again. All right, we're back. I let it sit for another, about 30 minutes. Gonna get a good stir here. And I think we're ready to pull it for today. And I'm going to eat it tonight with a bowl of rice as well. But you can also stir or get some Fritos with some cheese. Make it a Frito pie. Like I said, you can also put in some tacos. Put some lettuce and tomato in it. Some guacamole and sour cream. It'd be really good there too. But yeah, this is my family's recipe. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one. See you then.